This is Reuters Today. Coming up, soul searching in the US after another mass shooting, but are tougher gun laws on the agenda? Barack Obama sets out his thoughts at a memorial service for the 26 people killed in Newtown. But first, Japan has a new government. Sunday's election handed a landslide victory to the LDP leader Shinzo Abe. For more on what it might mean for the world's number 3 economy, let's get straight to Reuters' Tara Joseph in Hong Kong. Tara, the talk is of Abenomics now.
That's right. Abenomics is a word on everyone's lips. And actually what it means, in essence, is print lots and lots of money, spend more money from the government coffers, and get people to go out and spend and reflate the economy. That's what investors are expecting, as well as an extra budget of up to $120 billion. We get the Bank of Japan meeting this week, and people are expecting them to cut rates again. So this is a short-term boom and excitement for everyone, but there are some worries that providing this massive stimulus will not lead to much needed structural reforms and simply contain runaway debt. So short-term gains, but maybe long-term pains.
All right, we're going to talk more about that with Simon Derrick in just a sec. But first, Abe also sounding pretty hawkish on relations with China and Korea. Is it a good idea for him to turn up the heat there?
Well, Abe's victory has certainly put the region on red alert as to how high tensions could escalate between Japan and China in particular, and those tensions are already pretty high. Abe, to the support of many Japanese voters, was hard-talking in his campaign. Here's what he said, for example: "We will take back our country, our nation," in reference to disputes over a set of islands. The question is whether Abe will soften his tone once he gets into office. And just immediate reaction from China today in a party tabloid. They said if Abe takes an excessively hard line against China, we should resolutely push back. So, yes, tensions are high, and we have a Korean election later this week as well. So it's all a focus on Northeast Asia.
OK, Tara, many thanks. Right, let's get to Simon Derrick, Chief Currency Strategist, Bank of New York Mellon. Morning to you, Simon.
Good morning.
Reuters Breaking Views filed a piece this morning which said that this victory will herald, and I quote, a spectacular decline in the yen.
Yeah, I think that seems entirely fair.
When do we get to 3 digits?
Well, we could go for 4, clearly. I think if you look back historically, you look back to 1995, and then when you had the great turnaround from 80, once you started to move, then you really started to move. Within a quarter, you had gone up to, in fact, around about 95, 96, then on to 100. And I've got to say, I think that there's an entirely reasonable chance that we could repeat that. I wouldn't be surprised if we were talking about, in March or April time, a move that has taken us up into the mid-90s. I think when it moves, it's quick, and I think it's going to happen.
I mean, some of this was priced in, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
It's been happening for a while. This.
Absolutely, but you've now got the hard facts.
But at the same time, you've got the Fed doing what it's doing.
Yeah.
To what extent does that take out the punch?
I think that I've been considering this quite a lot, and actually the more that you look at the US, it actually is in a fantastic position right now. Yes, of course, we've got the issues with the fiscal cliff. Yes, of course, we've got the Federal Reserve still doing what it's doing. But look at the other issues. Look at the way that productivity has been growing in the US. Look at the way industrial production has grown. Look how competitive US manufacturers are in terms of the dollar over the last 40 years. We're right at the lower levels. So for me, the dollar is ultra cheap. It's the yen that's ultra expensive. And to have a central banker who's probably going to fall in line with whatever Mr. Abe tells him, I think that's going to be the key factor.
I mean, you mentioned the cliff. Are you convinced by by Boehner's latest comments in terms of all right, tax hikes for the super wealthy in the US? Is he going to move on that?
Well, it sounds to me as though it is. I mean, certainly the fact that we're seeing any kind of movement at all here, I think is the important part. Look, I think we all expect that a deal will be struck on or around the 31st. This is obviously the size that you're expecting to see in that final run-up. I think they're going to go further, because I don't think Obama's necessarily going to go, yes, that's fine, because it's simply not enough savings. But it's the fact that there is movements and there's change. Of course, they're not going to give the game away right now, but I think this is the sign that you would expect to see.
Dollar yen at the end of the year and euro dollar at the end of the year.
Dollar yen by the end of this year, I think actually we could see it in sort of 87, 88. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a fairly swift move. Euro dollar, I've been wrong all the way through the year, so I suspect that actually the real answer is no change at all and we'll be here. But the reality is, I think the dollar should be higher against the euro as well.
Very good, Simon. Many thanks.
Thank you.
Other stories to keep an eye on today. A day of reckoning looms for UBS. The Swiss bank expected to be hit with a fine of $1 billion this week over charges of LIBOR rigging. That's according to Reuters sources. And AIG may raise as much as $6.5 billion from the sale of its remaining stake in AIA. The move was forced on AIG as part of its 2008 bailout. Trading in AIA shares halted Monday at the company's request. The top world news story on Reuters this morning. US President Barack Obama has traveled to the Connecticut town traumatized by Friday's mass shooting. Obama spoke at a memorial service for the 26 people killed at the school in Newtown. He used the speech to promise action to prevent such tragedies, but he stopped short of calling for tougher gun laws.
Coming weeks, I'll use whatever power this office holds to engage my fellow citizens, from law enforcement to mental health professionals, to parents and educators, in an effort aimed at preventing more tragedies like this. Because what choice do we have? We can't accept events like this as routine.
That's it from us for now. Plenty more ahead today. Reuters Today tomorrow morning at 8. I'm Axel Throvel. This is Reuters.